might as well, like, for the last 10-15 minutes, I guess we can talk about what's your opinion about the Battle Royale coming to, well, allegedly coming to the next Battlefield game.
Well, I mean, when we say allegedly, I think we know that Tom Henderson is usually pretty bang on with his commentary and stuff like that, and I think he was the one that broke the story quite a while back.
Yeah, I don't like him for many different reasons, but I'll give him I'll give him props for building some street cred over the last years. He's not that type of douche. He's became more mature and professional, so I'll respect that.
And do you know what? I completely understand it. I had some issues with Tom a few years ago. And to be fair, we got together, we spoke about it. It took a little bit of time, and squashed the situation that we had, which is not an issue anymore. So like, and
adults, right?
And that's the thing. He I'm sure he would admit that a few years ago, some of the reporting is not quite up to the standard of the reporting that he does today. But I think that comes from experience, and I think that comes from genuinely just, getting a little bit older and a little bit wiser and understanding those kind of situations. So.
I mean, we were so different 10 years ago ourselves. Like when we were...
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we wouldn't react the way we react to certain things
trivia
now.
For people. Fun trivia. Guess how Westie was named back when he started YouTube. Mr. Pro Westie.
There we go. And I can't get rid of that on Twitter, because if I do, I'll get rid of the tick disappears. And I can't get the @Westie handle. I can't get the @Westie handle. I literally can't get it. Even though I want it, someone is still logging into that account, so I cannot get it. I can't even request and say like,
that's annoying.
It's really annoying. So we'll one day we'll get there. One day.
But yeah, going back
Battle
on
Royale for Battlefield. Okay. Again, I actually believe that Battle Royale and Battlefield should go hand in hand. I genuinely think that's the case.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it diverges from the core concept of Battlefield. If we strip everything back, let's think about Battlefield 1942. That was 2 teams, and I said it earlier, 2 teams, 5 flags, you fight, best team wins, right? That's how it works. But you can apply that kind of same thing to Battle Royale. As long as you're, teamwork. Bring in the squad play, bring in the teamwork, bring in the equipment that you have to, one person's got the armor box, and so, you need to go to them for armor plates, or you need to go to this person for medic and supplies and things like that. That all those concepts that Battlefield already has, I think can be applied to Battle Royale really well. And I actually think that the previous attempt, Firestorm, was a good attempt at a Battle Royale. I just think it came 2 years too late to the scene. I think it came too late.
About it. Firestorm was I did not enjoy it that much. It's whatever. It's just a Battle Royale.
And that's what I mean. I think it arrived too late. If it had arrived 2 years earlier, when PUBG was the big Battle Royale, beginning of 2017, you imagine PUBG comes out, and then 6 months later, Battlefield are like, oh yeah, we did our own. So, but our Storm is a massive ring of fire. And,
which is a cool idea.
Yeah, and that back then would have been amazing, because it's oh my god, because back then Battle Royale was, it wasn't as full of fluff as it is now across the industry. If you look at Fortnite, look at how many things are involved in their quote unquote Battle Royale. There are so many other elements and mini games and mysteries and things to discover. Back in 2017, when PUBG first really came onto the scene and popularized what was very classic Battle Royale. Could you imagine if Firestorm had released 6 months after that? I think it would have taken off massively.
And if you imagine it was actually not locked behind a paywall and actually free to play.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
But in the new rumored one that's coming out, it does sound like they're basically taking the Call of Duty Warzone framework. So having a premium $70 title attached with a free-to-play Battle Royale element.
We also have to mention that the former developer that worked on Warzone, original Warzone, is working on this.
Byron Bede, he's leading it up, isn't he?
So that alone is okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, you sit up and pay attention a little bit more than you were before. And then also, you've got someone like Vince Zampella, who is in charge of that entire Battlefield ecosystem now. And seems to be, taking it by the scruff of its neck by the sounds of it.
I have a couple of hot takes, though. Okay, so I remember originally about the Battle Royale news and everything. At first, me and Ray said, no, we don't want it. But as time went on, I'm realizing, but Battle Royale can still be part of Battlefield sandbox if done right. You know, Absolutely. It can be, because at the end of the day, Battlefield to me is a sandbox, you know. And when I'm thinking, well, multiplayer can be like something like Portal, you know, make it Portal, but make it improve it, they make it the whole multiplayer that, you know, because it's at the end of the day, it's still, no matter how much I love Conquest, it's still it's still an arcade shooter, you know, it's still a wannabe arena shooter. Sure, 64 players and in vehicles and everything, but it's just players in the confined area fighting each other and random particles smashing each other. Like, we have a winner. So it's a real show. So Portal could be that for the multiplayer section.
Yeah.
Well, Battle Royale can be something more. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Not competitive.
You were saying like you were like sandbox, but also
like,
you know,
something more serious sandbox, where we're like, it's fine to like, but at the same time, I don't want to do the same thing as a Call of Duty does, for example, like, oh, you play in the multiplayer just to unlock attachments, and then you go back to Warzone. I mean,
no, I agree, and I think that even if you go back to Battlefield 5, do you remember the breakthrough stuff where would it come down to? Oh no, it was the operations, and it would come down to like what was it called, final stand or something?
Oh, yeah, like the 5th round or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and do you know, to this day, in the public version of Battlefield 5, I have never experienced that.
I only experienced it once. I mean, great, it's not my favorite mode to begin with, but I only experienced it once, yeah.
I think the idea is, though, they tried to implement the Battle Royale feeling into the Battlefield sandbox, so exactly what you're saying there. Like, there is a place for Battle Royale within Battlefield, and I actually think it's one of the best placed franchises for it. I just think they have to treat it right. And a lot of people will say that, I know that a lot of people play Battle Royale solo, because it's actually a really good game mode to play without having... If you don't have friends that play the game, if it's got Battle Royale, it's actually a really good mode to play, because game mode keeps you engaged for a good 20 to 25 minutes without really needing to focus on anyone else. But when it comes to Battlefield, I think like a 4-person structure for Battle Royale with, you know, an assigned... Someone's like, right, I'll play medic, you play recon, I'll play support.
That can be really fun, yeah.
That could actually be really good fun. And it could be that, you know, like, okay, we're going to play 2 recons and 2 medics because, you know, we've got 2 people that like playing snipers but are really good, and then we've got 2 people who really like SMGs and playing close range. But the recons can provide all the spotting and all of the information gathering, and then the medics can do the up-close fighting but can provide, like, heals for the entire squad and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, all within a closing circle where, you know, your environment's changing because some guy came along with an RPG and blew a hole in the wall, and that vehicle over there is barreling towards you, and it's got 4 men in it, and they're about to jump out. All that kind of stuff. You know,
imagine instead of loadouts like we have in Warzone, you have classes.
Yes.
You know, that alone can be quite interesting mechanic if done right. You know,
I absolutely agree. I think that could be very interesting, where like you're playing a defined role, and by picking that defined role, you're like, right, okay, so I have access to this equipment. So you've still got a pool of equipment that you can use, but it's not like you can pick the really powerful stuff from this part of the game and the other really powerful stuff from that part of the game and put them together, which is essentially Call of Duty's loadout system. Instead, it's like I have to make a conscious choice. Right, okay, I'll do this cool part of the game as a medic because I like doing that, but my teammate will have to do the support and the ammo side of it, so we're going to have to rely on each other a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how the Battle Royale thing goes. Like I said, it's a part of Battlefield Sandbox. If done right, it can be really fun. What's your opinion?
One more thing I will say on the Battle Royale thing, and we mustn't mistake the marketing angle of it. You know why you want to create a free-to-play part of your game, because obviously player retention and player numbers are king. That's why you want to... EA are going to be heavily invested in keeping people playing the game for as long as possible. It's proven already over multiple years now that Battle Royale games keep people engaged for longer than other traditional game modes. Otherwise, Fortnite wouldn't have done it. Call of Duty wouldn't have done it. Apex wouldn't be here. So all these kind of things, you know, you have to look at it from that standpoint of like EA are a company and they want to make money, and Battle Royale is a surefire way to make more money.
Definitely, yeah. I was actually like thinking like, okay, because the thing with Battle Royale, Battlefield community might bitch about, oh, we don't need a Battle Royale, just make a good Battlefield game. I'm like, yeah, different times, we live in different times, and I keep saying this like a broken record. People after Warzone, after PUBG, after Fortnite, they tasted something that important, something big that is worth fighting for. Getting that, victory battle, in Battle Royale, whatever. That feels so. It doesn't matter if it's like your first one or the 10th one or the 100th one. It still feels amazing to get that victory in a Battle Royale, because you don't get those that often, no matter how good well, sure, if you're a professional, but whatever. But majority of the people, 99% of the people that play Battle Royales, don't get them every day, don't get them every 2 days or whatever. So they finally experience that something important, something big, that arcade shooters, arena shooters can't really offer anymore. Sure, you can play your Battlefield, like with vehicles and jets and everything, but what are you fighting for at the end? Why are you playing this game? What makes it this exciting? Is it the chaos or whatever? And Battle Royales, all that kind of stuff, they showed people, even to the casuals that don't really play first-person shooters, they're like, oh wow, that adrenaline, something to fight for. And Battlefield does need it. Just Battlefield being just a good Battlefield game is not enough, no matter how much I hate to say it. No matter how much I hate. But if I was an executive for EA, I would make something to compete with all those other games, because we can't just make a good game. That's not enough.
I also think that if you scale right out and you look at where Battlefield is positioned as a first-person shooter, you've got Call of Duty down one end, which provides the really twitchy 6v6 like casual side of it, and then you've got like the hardcore shooters up the other end. Like the people that really want to get into the nitty-gritty with their guns and don't mind dying to one bullet to the foot and all this kind of stuff in a game. Like, Battlefield kind of exists between the two, and so Call of Duty on that side of it, you can see why people get that, because they want that, that Adderall fix really, really quick all the time. Whereas, and on the other end, with the hardcore side of it, people like, they want to create a team together, they want to move into battle together, they want to do all these things together, and they like to live through that experience. Like, it might be 3 hours long in some of those games. Battlefield exists in the middle, and so therefore doesn't satisfy either of those groups. So, like you've just said, by implementing something into the game to give people a reason to keep playing, if that happens to be a battle royale, then I think that I think the people that create Battlefield are going to take that option, because I totally agree with you. Sometimes I do struggle, especially at the end of like a conquest match. You can feel a little bit like, oh, what did I really achieve?
Yeah, I've been there, done that,
Yeah, not every round of conquest is going to be the most amazing round you've ever played, is it? It's not going to be that way. Whereas with Call of Duty, you get that instant fix of gunfights all the time. You can kind of forget about the win, but you're getting that like dopamine hit of the gunfights and the hit markers.
Or even even when you're not really that good and you're just playing a battle royale. Let's say you have like 0.5 KD or something like that, and you're like in the last circle with other 2-3 players. I'm like, that's exciting for that player.
Yeah, absolutely.
They might not win, but it's exciting.
I remember the first few rounds playing Warzone back in 2020, and I was like, I have no idea how to play this game, but there's 10 other people alive. I am standing in a bush in the middle of nowhere, and this is obviously the worst gameplay you've ever seen. But those first those moments of when you're experiencing it for the first time, you're like, crap, this is all on me now. I have to try and win.
You can feel your heart pumping.
Your heart is literally going.
My God, Warzone is the only game that actually makes my heart fucking go fast. Like,
it does.
My God, like no other games. Like, unless when I play competitive matches, that's different. But it's like, oh shit, I feel it.
Yeah, it actually does make your heart rate go up a little bit, and especially if you're not, like you say, if you're not in that position as often as some other people. When you get to that moment, you're like, oh my God, I can see why people play this, because it actually gets your heart going. So if Battlefield needs to implement something like that, I wouldn't be opposed to it, because I do agree with you. I do feel that sometimes Battlefield lacks that feeling of like, why am I playing this game?
I will never forget when we were playing Warzone, and my girlfriend, she doesn't play first-person shooters, let alone try to carry someone in a first-person shooter. Basically, all of us were dead. The whole squad was dead. She was the only one alive. 10 people alive, solos only left. No squads alive, just solos. She won that game, carried us, and when she did the loudest scream I ever heard. It's like, fuck yeah! It's like all of us went. Yeah, all of us went just stupid. I think I have it on YouTube somewhere in my highlight reel. It's like, fuck yeah! It's just you cannot replicate that unless you're literally playing in War Series of Warzone yourself as a professional player. That's the only way you can replicate that, and that's what people felt in video. That's what they realized why they play video games.
Absolutely.
So it's just it's just one of those things that you can like. I was like thinking, okay, what if not a battle royale? What Battlefield could have? Well, I would say people still scold me for that. What about Battlefield Incursions? Have you ever played Battlefield 1 Incursions by any chance?
Remember that? I think I played it twice.
I think it was a fantastic competitive Battlefield mode. It was Battlefield, it had destruction, it had classes, it had vehicles, and it was fair, fun, and exciting. I think that would be the nice alternative to Battle Royale. But no matter how much I love competitive, shooters like that, and I would love to see Battlefield to be like, not an esport, but just a competitive mode where you like there's rank and everything, balance. There's like wannabe League of Legends, but first person shooter, right? For me, that sounds exciting. If it's not Battle Royale, at least that, because there's something to play for, something to fight for. And Battlefield 1 Incursions, I will die on this hill, I think is the best rendition of comparative Battlefield. I think is one of the best things that ever happened. Sure, it was rough on the edges, like it was not perfect, all that kind of stuff, and also it was Battlefield 1. But the idea was there. So that would be a nice alternative for me personally. If it's not Battle Royale, I'm not really into extraction shooters that much. But if it's not Battle Royale extraction shooter, I will take a comparative 5-on-5 Battlefield mode if done right.
That's the thing. Like you say, it has to be done right. And that's where I think they will probably go with the Battle Royale, because they have so many competitors that they can draw inspiration from. Because there's so many other people already doing it. They can be like, these things work for our competitors. How can we fit those things into our Battlefield experience? So that's the only stipulation I'll say. I wouldn't mind a competitive incursions mode either. But I think that based on how the franchise has gone for the last 5 years, I think they'll play it as safe as they can.
Oh yeah,
but also they'll play it safe by implementing what they know people will actually play. Yeah,
and I think, like I said, I'll die on this hill. Incursions, I think it was a fantastic mode and everything, but also there's this stigma happening right now around the gaming communities that you're not allowed to be good in a video game unless you're a cheat or something like that. It's so dumb. It's like I remember back in the days, like where you saw a good player, like, I would like to play like him one day. And now it's like every time you see a guy sliding and being good in a video game, like sliding everywhere, jumping around, just killing the whole team, and assuming he's not cheating, that person is not cheating. Assuming that person's not cheating, like, yo, fuck that guy, fucking swear Lord, get alive. That's the stigma we have. So, and if Battlefield, let's say, makes a comparative shooter like Incursions, like, Battlefield doesn't need. Battlefield needs a bigger player numbers, or needs jets and vehicles because chaos and stuff. Like the Battlefield community would hate this mode with guts, and I hate the fact. And the reason I even say that is because they would be unique from everything else in competitive space. There's nothing out there in first-person shooters that has destruction, has vehicles. I mean, sure, you can have classes, but there's nothing out there. Because we have CSGO, Rainbow Six, sure, you can say, maybe Warzone, World Series of Warzone, maybe is the closest thing that we have that something's like big, right? Something big and comparative. No matter what you think about if it's a comparative or not, that's not the point. The point is, if you're good enough, you can qualify for the tournament and try to win $1 million. So
Absolutely.
That's a thing. Regardless what people might think.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Battle Royale, I have high hopes for it.
Yeah, I have high hopes too, especially with the people that are in charge. I just hope that by those people that are in charge, that obviously they've been put there for a reason by people at EA who are like, you know what you're doing, so we're going to give you the job. I just hope they're allowed to do their job. Do you know what I mean?
Hopefully, yeah.
Because I do feel like EA sometimes get in their own way. And they go, right, we need to do something, and then they just don't quite have the conviction to do it. Whereas I look at the past, if you look at Apex, that's an example of where people in charge had an idea, they executed it, and they convinced EA that it was the right thing to do. And
EA was too late to stop it at that point.
Of course they were. But
when
at the
they bought
same time,
Respawn, it was too late.
But of course, at the same time, EA could have gone, well, no, we're going to cancel that project. We're not going to do that. Or we don't want to do that, or whatever. And they sort of went out of their way and went, no, we're going to do this, and we know what we're doing. And as an example, that's a really good situation where EA got a win out of it, even though most of it was Respawn anyway. But I just hope that the people in charge are able to do their job properly, and that there's not too many blockers in the way, so to speak.
Yeah.